Which is where we're at now, settled in the 1800s. It's 8 miles north of Bluefield, which is where most of the workers would have worked. A little bit of info there which we don't need, but the town's namesake, J.M. Bramwell, was a New York civil engineer, and he was a flat top company superintendent. In 1873, the extensive West Virginia coal fields, think about that, 1873, that's 150 years ago. The extensive West Virginia coal fields started in Bramwell and extended over 40 miles. Bramwell's wealth was supported by the Pocahontas coal fields, and you are right in the middle of the Pocahontas coal fields right now, which employed 100,000 miners at the turn of the century. Think about that. 100,000 miners worked in this area, just in this coal field alone, at the turn of the century.
Are these underground mines or liquid mines?
Underground. And if anybody's interested in the big comprehensive information about this, I can email it to you. I have it on email. In 1886, the coal company was formed in an act of the railroad marketing arm of the coal fields. The town's population of 4,000, so there was 4,000 people here in 1897. So without reading verbatim, because it does take a while, this town again was created for the wealth of it. So this house here, this is the Cooper House. It's the big mansion here on Main Street.
Green roof?
The green roof. So actually the roof is from, and I'll let her tell you because we're going to get to go inside. In about 15 minutes or so, we're going to make our way down. We're going to go up on her veranda. She's going to talk to us. She's got some cool old pictures that she'll show us. So we're going to see this mansion, and then once we're done there, once she's done talking to us, we're going to make our way down the street, and then we're going to see the we're going to go into the malt shop. Now, here's interesting information about this, and they actually have one in there. When Chanel number 5 was released, it was released in 5 locations. And of those 5 locations, one of them was right here, and it was the 3rd location. It was like San Francisco, Paris, and Palermo, West Virginia. They still have one of those bottles in there, right? That's how much money was here. There were more millionaires living here in this little hamlet in West Virginia than anywhere in the world per capita.
Yeah.
Look at the detail.
I can smell it too.
There's a swimming pool over here.
Swimming weather.
Never seen brick.
That's those tiles that mom and dad, the pins, tiles, mom and dad's house had that one.
And slate. Yeah.
I would like to introduce you to my friend, Kelly Elver. She is super nice, and I'm sure she gets a lot of people that come and want to talk to her and want to see this place. And I was actually here pre-running this, and I stood right there between those fences, and I waved my hand and everything at her. And so she was nice enough to come out and talk to us, and she's nice enough to do this for us, right?
Plus, he had Frankie Doodle.
I did
Yeah,
have
we did have
Frankie
Frankie
with me.
And that made him a nice person.
So again, I knew that if I brought people to Bramwell, West Virginia, and I wanted to talk about the importance Bramwell served to the creation of West Virginia and the coal industry in West Virginia, I knew I needed to show you guys this. So that's why I was standing out there waving my hand about it. So Kelly doesn't normally do this for people, but she does it for us, right? And she's just going to tell you a little bit about her family and a little bit about this magnificent home.
Well, first of all, I'm honored to have you all here. I've never had a group like this before, and it's nice. And Jerry and his wife are such nice people, so when he said something, I said, sure. But my family, well, first of all, my great-great-grandfather, John Cooper, started the coal mining industry. It's up here at a little community called Cooper that's named after him. And he shipped the first coal on the West Virginia side and shipped it out. And that was back in 1884. And he had a son, and he was John Cooper Sr. And this is a gentleman that built this home. John Cooper's house still stands up there at Cooper, and it's been renovated. And the mayor of Bramwell owns it now.
Really?
Yeah. So that's how it all started. And my great-great-grandfather started the coal. My great-grandfather worked with him, and his name was Edward Cooper Sr. And he worked in the coal mines, coal and coke. They had a coke oven. And therefore, he built this home after the 1910 fire that ravaged Bramwell. It took out all of Main Street. It was January the 7th, 1910. And there was nothing much left but part of this home and the Bluestone Inn right here. This home was of wood then, but it was not made like this. So he rebuilt it, and he got the orange brick, it's from England. The wrought iron fence is from Germany. The stonemasons of Bramwell, which were immigrants, they came over. They did all the stonework in the house, and you'll find that all through Bramwell, that they've done that. Then he had a son, Edward Cooper Jr., who followed in his footsteps, helped a little bit with the coal mining, and then it was sort of just dissolved. And his father, Edward Cooper Sr., died, and he lived here. He took over, and this is where my mother lived, and my father, and I was born here. This was my childhood home. But there are a lot of nice features to it. It has a fallout shelter in the basement. So if anything happens, you better be the first one here.
It had a swimming pool, didn't it?
Yes, it has a swimming pool over here, and I would show it to you, but right now, it has got all of our patio furniture in it.
But think about that in that time frame that there was a swimming pool, you know. And but again, I think that shows a lot of. She talked about a coke oven real quick. So real quick with coal, for coal to be used in the steel mills, right? It had to be clean coal, and what's clean coal? They had to burn off all the impurities. So they would have these big ovens, and if we're lucky, we may see some of those tomorrow. So there were these big ovens, and they would put this coal in it, and they would burn coal. Now that doesn't make sense, but they would. They would burn the impurities off that coal in coke ovens, and then they would then they could ship that coal to Pennsylvania or whatever steel mill would need it, right?
Well, it was called the Mill Creek Coal and Coke Company, was the name of the mine. And my great-great-grandfather did a lot for the community. The community is up there. The house is still there. You can see the company store. You can see the row of company houses.
Really?
Yeah, and he built 2 churches for the community. He built one of the first Afro-American churches, and it's called the Mill Creek Baptist Church, and it is up there. And then he built a small Methodist church that's right below his home. It's a white church. So he did a lot for the community, and his wife died giving ice cream. They got a big thing of ice cream, and they got it for all the children of the miners. And it was a cold day, but she still did it, and she served the ice cream. And she caught pneumonia staying out there and serving it to the kids, and she passed away. They are buried out at Woodlawn Cemetery. And her name was Mariah, John and Mariah Cooper. So there's a lot of history that goes on with my family, and I could, if I had some more time, I could tell you a lot of things. I could bring you in the house sometime if you're back later on and show you one room in here. We call it the den. Is nothing but a museum. It's just got all kinds of things in it. And I'm very proud of my family because they were good people. They always were ready to help the community, be there, and be there for everyone.
As you still do on the town council.
Well, I try. I can't feel those footsteps.
So what was I gonna say?
Well, I was going to show you, there's a ball field up at Cooper. And it had the Red Sox played there one time.
Really?
Yeah. And it was all the coal camps had ball teams. And they played up there. So let me get this picture, and I will show you Edward Cooper Sr. when he was on the ball team.
Excellent. So while we have this opportunity, they in December every year they open up these mansions to the public, and you're only seeing one, but the hilltops are full of them. And if we had time, we would drive around. But there's still a lot of mansions here, like this one, and they actually open them up in December. I'm considering putting together what I want to call the Norman Rockwell ride in December, to come in here when this town is all decked out for Christmas. And if the weather's decent, we could do a little riding and then also spend some time looking around some.
Senior. And this is the first ball team. And they played up at Cooper.
What year is that?
Oh gosh, this is probably well, no. It's probably not early 1900s, well, the end of the 1800s. I don't really have the date. But he was a quite good-looking fella. I thought, because the ball field's still there, and the high school teams, Montcalm, used to use it, and the Little League that we had around here used to use it.
So what I hear you telling me, and there's a lot here that I didn't know about. So maybe I put together a ride that spends a little more time in this area, and maybe goes around and seeing some of this other stuff.
Yeah,
that I
there's a
didn't even
lot
know
here.
about.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe come during the open house and add that in. So maybe I'll put together this thing called a Rockwell ride, because to me this is a little Norman Rockwell painting right here in the middle of West Virginia, right? And so maybe we'll get to come back and see you.
Well, we called it our little hidden piece of treasure that,
It's so odd to me, and I was telling them on the radio when we were coming in. You know, I was talking to Mayor Lou, and when she was talking to us last time we were through here, she said, we had to learn to use the right spoon, and we had to use the right fork, and we had to learn to dance, and we had to learn to socialize, and to me it was like listening to her talk. It was like a little piece of Victorian England that dropped right in the middle of West Virginia.
Yes. Well, I was going to show you something else. Right here is when my great-great-grandfather, John Cooper, came over from England. He lived in Staffordshire, and he worked in the coal mines over there at 6 years old.
Really?
But this is where he came to Pennsylvania and got his citizenship, coming from over from England. And
That's an amazing piece of history.
yeah, and then this right here is a picture of Edward Cooper Sr. at the tipple.
So for those that don't know what a tipple is, that's how they loaded the coal into the cars, right? And that's a coal tipple.
Yeah.
And there's a little place in the New River that I'd love to show you if I could have got us all down there. They actually still have a tipple.
Oh yeah, well, there's still a tipple at Bishop Coal Company.
See? I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, we're coming back.
And this is my great-grandfather in his derby. He always wore a derby in the cigar. But there's a lot of history in Bramble, not only to this home here. I feel like it originally helped start Bramble, but there's a lot of history here if you really want to. And I'm sure up at the depot you saw a lot of things up there. You could delve up there for a long time and find
I wish
things.
I had for.
crossing.
They had to put it on the trailer. They got somebody coming with the trailer to pick them up. Yeah.
Oh, watch out for the glass.
The company store was built at the turn of the century. The stone from here was actually milled across, and Italian laborers and stonemasons actually built this. But the big thing about this one is, if you look at it, it's the biggest company store probably ever built, and it had a psychological effect, which was one of the reasons why they built it the way they did. Imagine being a young miner, and if you look in here, the windows are where they would come in. We'll go into it in a minute. But they would go in and they would get their script, right? And that's how they would buy everything from here. There were stores here. They could buy furniture here. It was all right here. And but imagine being a miner, uneducated, coming in here and not being happy with things, but also knowing that there would be no way to fight something like this, because it was just too massive, right? So it had a lot of a psychological effect, and it was one of the reasons that coal companies built these massive structures, because it was just overbearing to them. So that it's just the way they left it.
The glass wasn't here last time.
Yeah, there wasn't any.
Normally, you don't mind, look, she'll cut her little paw. Not a big deal because we have this little YouTube video.
Oh, we rebuilt it. Yeah, this was bought by nonprofit. You guys are probably
It's actually, look, it's tile floor underneath all the dirt.
They don't build stuff like this anymore, do they?
I'm telling you. I know, it's crazy.
Bunch of glass out there.
Okay. It's crazy. Oh, the elevator. Let's go over to the other side.
That's why they turn wood all those tall. There's still a lot of mines. Just not at the capacity. Well, there's still, you know where all that coal goes? Every bit of it? You know where it goes? Coal miner plant, what we do make goes to China and everywhere else that show you coal mines.
This is almost like a bank office. Mm-hmm. Look at all the lead paint. It is.
Mom and the daughter and everybody. She's out here in the dress and everything, just taking pictures. That's pretty cool.
That was got a manicure long. A little bit.